know if it's on. Oh, hey guys. Wow, we got a good day. Anyways, some of you don't know me, but my name's Ryan, and so on the ride, hey buddy, what you doing? Let me put some of my facts up on here. You want to be on the video? um, why are you crawling on the floor? Hey, come here. What's that? Yeah, it's my brother. He's got a problem. Wow, this is weird. But I don't know if you guys can hear this, but yeah, that's me. It's me. Yeah, that's you. So I'm gonna put down why are you checking your hair? Seriously? I mean, oh no, that. So, okay, now my hair. Way to go. Now my hair's all crazy. Now you guys see my hair. It's crazy. I'm actually a drummer, but I also write songs too. So I thought I'd share a little song I wrote. Why are you still sitting here? What are you doing? I don't know.
Just beep.
Oh,
Get it over with.
Katie, we're recording on YouTube right now, and I guess my whole family's coming up. Oh, hey.
What is this for?
It's for a computer. You put videos up on YouTube. You can see yourself on the computer, and you can put it up on YouTube.
Wait, we're on a computer?
Yeah, I know, it's weird, right? I thought I was here, but I'm actually there. Yeah. Is this real life?
Where is it?
It's up here. My camera's up there. Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, got it.
Ow. Ow.
Oh, anyways.
So real.
I know. I know. My teeth look really white. Anyways, I was gonna put up a song of mine. I was gonna start rapping to it. Yeah, I was, but I guess you guys came in, so now we're just having random talks. Anyways, can I put up my song now?
Can
I rap to it?
Wait, what do you mean put it up?
What?
Put up where?
I think if you see, I'm talking on this, and okay, yes, you're good.
It's like a mirror, right?
No, it's a mirror. So it's gonna whatever I put on this magical mirror, it's gonna end up so other people can look at it. I know it sounds complicated. My hair looks like crap.
Who's
Like a picture.
It's like a picture. It's a picture, but you scroll your mouse over it. It's like a picture. You put your mouse over it, and then it moves. It's like those moving pictures.
So as you move the mouse, it moves.
Okay,
on other computers?
Okay, let's say I was to draw on a picture on a piece on 10 pieces of papers. If I were to draw on paper a cartoon on a different page and flip it, you know how it moves and it makes a flippy book. Yeah, so this is like a flip book. So you put all your drawings and whatever you're doing on here, and people hit play and it flips to them really fast.
But you're not drawing.
But I'm not drawing.
You can't draw.
I can't draw.
So it's a flippy book, kind of
like this.
Kind of like this.
Yeah.
Like so, if we took a drawing and
no, that's like how much is that?
If we drew a flippy book on here,
are those 50s?
There are a couple of 50s.
One of them.
Where do we live in Kansas? You know, we steal cows.
Or just do really
Or work.
good jobs that are jobs.
Whoa.
Seriously, guys, can I put up my stuff now?
Look! There's me!
What do you mean?
Guys, we just went over this. You're here. You guys
There's me!
are
We're
crushing
here.
my legs. I'm in my Woody the Woodpecker pajamas, and you're crushing my legs.
Look, you're right there.
Yeah, there you are, guys.
Hey.
Hi.
Okay, that's weird.
$10 people are gonna comment about. Never mind.
Oh, what?
It's disgusting. You might want to lift up your shirt a little bit. Thank you.
Can't see it.
You shared before.
Really?
Yeah. It's weird. What? So I don't know how to do this. I hit record. How to put my video? My video's gonna go up, and then it's gonna. Well, I have to hit stop.
Video.
Yeah. I think that's what this is. I'm recording. See this little. If I hit stop, it stops it. What are you doing?
Wait.
Yeah. This is real life, guys.
No. This.
My head looks really big. That's
It is.
but I'm also really cold.
Carson told me that cameras can steal your soda. Just gonna say that's all.
Is this a camera or is this a video camera?
No, we're not.
Guys, I'm gonna hit stop because I really want to put up a video now. I don't think anybody's gonna be watching this.
No.
Wait. They can watch this?
Who's gonna watch
Who?
this?
I don't know. I'm confused. This is the
I
worst.
can't. Oh.
I have to go wash my hair. I haven't washed it in like
Why are you
3
talking
days. Because my hair is. Oh my gosh.
about it?
I know. It's not like they're actually here. Or where are you?
Wait.
It's them.
Are we? Is,
Them. They're watching us.
who? Who's watching us?
Whoever's watching us, they're watching us.
Right now?
Yeah.
They're watching us right now.
I don't know. No, because it's not up yet. They're not watching us right now.
But they are.
Trick question, you are.
They're watching us right now.
That's true. Wow, I didn't think of it like that.
Wait. I can see them.
Oh, dude, that's nasty. You need to stop doing that.
Oh.
Oh, that is gross. Okay,
What
do
is
you
that,
do?
Ryan?
Oh my god, what
Ryan,
do you
what
got?
is that?
You two down front. Disgrace. You're a disgrace to all kind. You guys need to scoot back, man.
Wait.
My bed's gonna break. Can you guys please scoot back? You guys are really close. Stop leaning on me.
Where's your bed?
Can I just put up my song, please? That's all I wanted to do. Katie.
John?
Okay, guys. We're done. We are
Is that
done.
you?
Look, John, I don't know who John
Hey!
is, but you know
I know
what?
you.
I'm gonna put up another video
You're
soon,
gonna grow up
okay?
with John.
So watch these videos and maybe have a good time.